guys, how are you? So I did a Facebook post on my personal Facebook, and I asked for different subjects that people may have questions about and they want to deep dive into. I got some really good feedback on the post itself, and then I also got some private messages. So the one private message I got was about a person who was able to see spirit. They could feel energy, and they've always been able to do things. She gave me a little bit of background. And I actually very much so connected with the background she gave me, because we have very similar like past histories from what she was saying. So I want to touch base on that first. She had asked about information on it, and then she had asked about like resources to help her kind of connect a little bit more. So that's what I want to try to cover in this informational video. I made myself notes, because when I am doing videos, I tend to go off on different subjects. So this helps me to stay on track a little bit. What I want to do is, first of all, talk about the Clairs. And the Clair senses are actually senses that kind of go beyond the normal senses. So it's almost like amplified, like something that's not physically there. And for an example, like we see, but clairvoyance is clear seeing. It is Clair, and it is above what we are physically seeing. Okay, so some people do see spirit, while other people maybe cannot see spirit. So it may present a little bit differently, but that's kind of what the definition of the Clair senses are in a short condensed version. So what I'll do is kind of go through the Clairs, and that is different ways that people connect. So that will be information on kind of how to just basically what it is that is being experienced, but more defined. I will give some experiences, if I have them, as we're going down through these, of my own experiences, just because I like that myself. Sometimes hearing other people's experiences can kind of help you be like, oh yeah, this is really happening. I'm not seeing things, I'm not imagining things. This is actually really truly happening, and I'm not crazy. And then I think what I would like to do, this all kind of intertwines with different, with some spirit activity. But we're going to break it down as far as the information of how you may be experiencing these, I guess is the best way to put it. And then we'll follow up with some additional resources that may help hone in the abilities, just connect you with other like-minded people so you don't feel alone. I'll do that at the very end, and hope this helps. All right, so the first one that we're going to go over is clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is that clear seeing that we touched base on when we were introducing, what we were going to talk about. So clairvoyance can come in like mental images. It can come in visions. It can come in prophetic dreams. Or in the sense of spirit, it is seeing something that other people maybe cannot. It's seeing something there, but is not physically there and visible to most people's naked eye. So an example I have of clairvoyance and some ways that it may present. Many years ago, I was driving home from work, and where I worked went down through a pretty turny road. There was actually a blind turn. I was young, I was dumb, and I was booking, I was moving. As I come up to the blind turn, I had the mental image in my mind eye, but it was very clear. It literally was like it was happening right in front of me. I seen a black pickup truck come around the corner, around that blind turn on my side of the road. And in my mind's eye, we actually smashed head on. It was so vivid, so clear. I immediately hit the brakes. I mean, like slammed on the brakes. As I slammed on the brakes, around the blind turn came a black pickup truck on my side of the road. Had I not slammed on the brakes, we would have indeed hit head on. That is a form of clairvoyance, of clair seeing. I seen something happen in my mind's eye that was going to happen. It had not yet happened. But that is also a form of clairvoyance. In dreams, prophetic dreams, So I have had several of those. Not every dream is a prophetic dream. I do want to say that. Most dreams, when they happen, are your subconscious trying to work through things that happen on your waking hours. So when you have a really weird dream, a lot of times you can kind of piece together what it may be talking about. It's something that you're really not maybe dealing with in your waking hours, or something that's been on your mind. And sometimes, you know, a dream's a dream. But the prophetic dreams tend to have a different feel to them. Like, you may wake up and you may be like, what the shit? But I have found that the prophetic dreams, I don't necessarily know what they mean until something happens. And sometimes they are very on point and very clear as to, I know what to expect. I know what's coming. I know the players involved, and I kind of can internally prepare, because I'm a big fan of saying we can't control other people. The only thing we can do is control our own responses, our own actions, our own reactions, etc. That being said, I had one prophetic dream. I didn't know that one was prophetic. A couple of years ago, my job went through a restructuring process, and I dreamt several times, but one was so vivid that it really got my attention, and that's the one where I sat up and I took notice. I did have a gist, but I didn't know the specifics. So I dreamt that Dolly Parton, and I know it's crazy, but Dolly Parton presented, because I knew in the dream that that was not the real Dolly Parton. So to me, that alerted me that somebody was really wearing a mask. Somebody that I knew personally was wearing a mask and was not who they were portraying themselves to be. I did figure that, I pieced that out. But this person that was portraying Dolly Parton was actually a vampire. They made me sit and tied me up, and I had to watch why they energetically, by being a vampire, drained a person. What happened with that prophetic dream was a person who portrayed to be a friend of mine, very sneakingly, very underhanded, went completely under me and tried to take my job away from me in a very sneaky and underhanded way. So that's what that dream actually turned out to mean. And when that incident happened, I was like, aha, light bulb moment came on. I have had other dreams that were prophetic, that the key players were themselves. They played themselves. And the events that unfolded came to pass. And it turned out that, yes, it was a prophetic dream. When I had it, I knew the feel of the dream was different. I actually was expecting what happened to happen. So, images, visions, prophetic dreams, that is really something that clairvoyance, this clear seeing ability, is talking about. All right, so the second one we're going to go over is clairaudience, and clairaudience is clear hearing. So that can be internally, as in you have a thought that seems to pop into your head from out of nowhere. It may not sound like your own voice. It can be a song on repeat over and over in your head. It may be a tone, something like that. Outwardly, it could be like the ringing in your ear, different tones. It could be songs on the radio, an overheard conversation. And I actually do have an experience where I physically heard, and not just me, a coworker heard something out of thin air. I have a couple of those experiences actually, so that relates to the spirit form of the question that was asked to me. And yeah, it can be a little bit hinky when stuff like that happens. So I've had many instances with the clairaudience. I once had a gentleman, I was thinking about something very personal to myself, and I work in healthcare. I had a patient in the chair who literally looked at me and out of the blue said the answer to what I was seeking. Like, it was very clear. He looked at me like in my eyes and just said the answer that I was seeking. Like, neither one of us knew where it came from, what it was about, but it happened. the incidents that I have had with disembodied voices and actual spirit. So I was at work and I had a dog that was passing. Her name was Sassy. She was a beagle and she was everybody's baby Adderall. She was sick and she was passing, and I was really upset. And I mean, as things do, like, you can't control such things, and I had to go to work. So I was worried about her all day. And my coworker, I was sitting at the computer putting in orders, and it was just my coworker and I in the hallway. She was actually cleaning a room across the hall from me, and I heard, "Trace." And I thought it was my coworker, so I turned my head and I looked at her. I'm like, "Yeah, what?" And she sticks her head out of the door, and she's kind of like, if you're talking about somebody saying your name, it was not me. And we were the only two that were there. Of course, I was like, oh gosh, I hope, there was part of me that was like, I hope Sassy went ahead and passed peacefully, because, it's a hard thing. I was still smoking at the time. Now this is a little bit different, and it goes more into animal symbolism and signs, but I want to go ahead and include it just because I thought of it. I went out, I was still smoking at the time. I was out at my car the same day. I was having a cigarette and a crow was cawing. So I looked, and there literally was a crow hovering outside my window, and it looked at me, and I was like, yeah, it's getting really close. And it was a matter of like 2 days after that. But anyway, so clairaudience can be something like that, and actually hearing spirit. When I heard my name called, clairaudience is also, like I said, you may receive messages that are from songs playing on the radio, an overheard conversation, anything that you are literally hearing that kind of like catches your attention, and you're like, that makes a lot of sense. Like the gentleman who we had this discussion, and it turned into a conversation between the two of us, but there was that moment of absolute clarity. And it was almost like he was wondering, why did I even say that to her? And I'm like, that's the answer. That is the answer you just said to me. So yeah, things happen very mysteriously, but there are some examples, not only of what clairaudience can be, but some of the ways it may present in your life. All right, so we'll discuss now the claircognizance, which is clear knowing, and the clairsentience, which is clear feeling. So I have experiences I could share with that, but the claircognizance, the clear knowing, it's when you're in those situations where you're just like, basically it's just like I know there's something that you know without a doubt, with every fiber in your being, but you just don't know how you know. That is your claircognizance. So it could be like, I know without a doubt that this person is a great person, or this person is a bad person, but you have no evidence about that you just know. And then you hear something that's like confirms what you've already known. That can be like one example there. Clairsentience is the emotional energy, so it is the vibes that you may be feeling. So when you walk into a room and you can feel that there had just been an argument there, or you walk into a room where people had been just previously laughing and having a great time, and the energy just feels lighter and makes you almost feel better for just walking in there. So that's kind of a form of clairsentience. I guess like empath would be a very good place to start researching like the clairsentience. A lot of empaths will have that a very strong clairsentience. When we get talking into like spirit world, so your claircognizance and your clairsentience would be feeling that energy. I know a lot of people that work with crystals have a pretty strong clairsentience, because you're actually picking up those vibes, like and that actually also falls into, and that one I did not write down, but it's clear touch. So it is when you are literally like holding on to a coffee cup and being like, wow, like the person who last touched this, it has a history. I can feel something from this cup. Like you're picking up energy off of some material things. Maybe a photograph, you might pick up energy off of a photograph. So that would be clear touch. Right now, the chills that I'm getting chills. And I actually feel like something's in here with me at the moment. That is a form of clairsentience, that clear feeling. Let's move on to like clear taste and clear smell. They can also be amplified where you can taste or smell something that it really has no explanation. Clear taste. I once, my grandfather on my dad's side had gotten sick unexpectedly. Turns out that he did have a cancer. And he was diagnosed, admitted to the hospital, and passed away all within like a week. So some examples of the way, of the Clair senses. So clear taste. I had went upstairs to visit him. And when I did that, I actually got the taste of like a metallic taste of blood in my mouth. And then we had found out that he did have some internal bleeding that was happening, probably, I'm assuming, caused from the cancer, but that's one of the things that we had been told. But that was the clear taste, where I got a taste of blood, like a metallic taste. I can't say blood because I've never actually tasted blood, but in my mind it was like, oh, I'm tasting blood, you know. Clear smell, instances of clear smell, like you may smell a loved one's pipe tobacco, their favorite perfume, favorite flower, or their favorite scent. You may smell that from out of nowhere. So that is kind of the way the clairs present. Spirit communication and utilizing those clairs can happen in many different ways. And I can give an example too of the clear knowing. This kind of goes along with that. So again, back to the grandfather that was in the hospital. If you've watched my other videos, like I had a sister that had passed away, and I was in visiting my grandpa, and the nurse walked in, and I glanced over, and she was going to write her name up on the board, like it says, you know, who your nurse is for the day and things like that. So she was going to write her name up on the board, and from the back, I was like, oh my God, like she had a long ponytail, same color as my sister's. From the back, she could have been my sister. And as I'm acknowledging this, she writes her name on the board, which was Jess. I am your nurse today. That was my sister's name. And at that very, very particular moment, I knew. I knew without a doubt that my pap would be passing. So yeah, there's just a few different examples of the Clair senses and how they may present in your life. And next, spirit may use those Clair senses, obviously. So that's why I kind of decided to utilize things together. So as far as seeing spirit and hearing and just feeling their energy, my strongest advice is literally just trust what you're feeling. If you have a hinky vibe, trust it. However, if you have a vibe that's just kind of like, yeah, it's all okay, sometimes you may acknowledge and know who the spirit is. Other times it's just going to be those Clair senses that indicate something is there and something is going on. Next, we'll go ahead and just go over a few resources that may help you to connect a little bit. May help you to connect a little bit, as well as like some resources that I use that may actually help you. Okay, so we've went ahead and discussed all the Clairs a little bit. I actually do want to say that I have experience with different, I have experience with the Clairs. I do have experience with different spirit encounters, if you want to call them, but I am not a medium. I did not want to develop mediumship skills. It's not the direction I want to go for myself. So I think the best things I could do as far as resources is tell you some people who may be able to help you on a journey like that, some people who are mediums. And the first one is a friend of mine. We're friends on Facebook. We have met at events, but and I hope I don't butcher your last name. If I do, I apologize. But it's medium Michelle Lemaire. She does also have a website that is called From the Ashes. So if you look that up, look her up. She is an actual medium. You may be able to get some information off of her, but I would highly suggest like following her. Terry and Desiree Dennis. I've visited their website. I have thought about taking some classes through them. But again, that was a direction I personally decided I did not want to go in. But they have a website called spiritguidanceandhealing.com where they do offer classes. Kawartha Mediums, that I follow them on Facebook. I actually did attend a workshop that they had done years ago. It's a mother and daughter team. So I had attended a workshop of theirs in Lilydale several years ago. And the way they did it, their website or their Facebook, they have a Facebook page. They also have a Facebook group, but it is a safe space kind of where you can learn from other people's experiences. You can learn from the Kawartha mediums themselves. It's also a place where you can express things that have happened. Like in their group, I know they will come and be like, have you ever experienced XYZ? And it's kind of like a safe space where you can put down your experiences. You can see other people's experiences and understand that you're not alone, so to say, in your experiences. It's really cool to see how other people connect, which is why I'm kind of doing what I'm doing with giving my own personal examples. So next thing I want to say, Zener cards. Zener cards are a good way to kind of work with your clairs. If you're not like really interested in taking a course or something, Zener cards can help you to connect. So they're just a set of cards. I actually had made a set, but I'm in my workshop. I don't have them out here with me. But Zener cards, you can get an app if you want. They're actually just cards that have like 5 different shapes and different colors. And so what you want to do is try to almost know what card is presented without seeing it. So it's about using your clairs. Like, do you have any vision? Do you have any sense about what this card is? Things like that. You can actually do the same thing with dice. Playing cards, you know, if you're playing solitaire or something like that, try to almost guess what the next card is going to be, and then see how you feel whenever if you think a 7 is going to come up and a 7 comes up, like what feelings does that give you in your body? So that may be something that you can do as well. Google can be, I mean, a wealth of information. Google spirit connection, Google empaths would be a good thing to Google. As well as just, if you just type in one of the claircognizance, it will bring up different sites, different information on all of the different clairs. So that may be a good resource. And I'm kind of thinking, let me know what your thoughts are here. Because I do know some people who are mediums. I got the idea while I was doing this video. Maybe I could collaborate and do like a podcast with a person, with an actual medium, who could sit down and kind of just, you know, find out what their experiences are. I think that might be helpful. So let me know your comment or your thoughts on that, please. As you know, I do have a full-time job, but I am trying to get this started. So I'm going to go ahead and say it because other people do. If you like this type of content, would you consider liking and subscribing, telling other people, and help me build my business up? And even if it doesn't get built up, I am going to continue to do this because I think there's value in it and I enjoy doing it. So I guess that's going to wrap up this question, and I really, truly hope that it helps. Thank you so much.